Hey guys, what's up everybody? It is your boy Me1. I'm here for a YouTube video. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys an Orioles video because I am an Orioles fan, as you can see by my podcast shirt in the background. But anyways, I guess we'll go through the and I guess I'll give you my not only my starting lineup but my pitcher predictions, who I think the starting five pitchers are going to be heading into the season. So yeah, let's get started. Um, I guess let's start off with the batters themselves, as that's what I have up here, aka my starting lineup right here, as well as my batting order on the left. So, starting off at the top of the order, we got our center field, Cedric Mullins. I think this is pretty obvious. He is easily one of our best batters. He is an insane stealer, so once he gets on base, he's usually great to either start or end inning, and usually he can get on base and then right after that, have a power hitter like my number two that help push him around the bases better. And especially with the new rule that's implemented that makes stealing pretty easier, I think Cedric Mullins starting off the order is still very beneficial. And my number two would be Adley Rutschman, who I think is very good. He ended the season as one of the best catchers last year, and I think going into the season, he will be the best catcher in baseball. My number three batter is Anthony Santander in the right field. I think this is also pretty obvious. Santander is one of our better batters last year. I think he either led the team or was like second and third in home runs. He had a fantastic year last year. He is easily one of our better cleanup hitters. Usually, and he'll probably end the inning. He'll probably become our third hitter in it, and he is great for he's great in the outfield, and I think he will have another fantastic year for us. Batting fourth at first base, Ryan Mountcastle, another pretty obvious one. I think my first five here should be pretty obvious. I mean, I doubt anybody will have any problems with my first five. Anyway, so at number four, we got Ryan Mountcastle. I think you could make the argument of maybe switching 4 and 5. But for now, I think Mountcastle will be our starting first baseman. I don't think there's anybody on our roster that will compete for our first baseman spot. Starting first baseman spot, I think Mountcastle has that on lockdown, as well as the top three. I mean, Santander is really the only question mark of whether he has that right field locked down. He's definitely going to be a starter in the lineup. But the question is, will he be a DH or will he start? And I do think Matt Castle will start at first, and Santander will be in right field. But anyways, moving on to the fifth spot, we got Gunnar Henderson in right and third base. I think this is another pretty obvious one. I think third base is Gunnar Henderson's strongest suit, and going into this year, he'll be a very, very good player for us. I think he'll be our starting third baseman. I do think the two corner basemen, first and third, are locked. I think the only spot in our infield that's a big question mark is second base, but we'll get to that later. But anyways, yeah, I think Gunnar Henderson will start at third base. And will be the fifth spot. Number six is in the left field, Austin Hayes. I do think the left field spot is another one that could go to a lot of people. You could argue Karen Favre, you could argue Kyle Stowers. There's a couple other guys in eyes that you could maybe pull in as a starter in the left field spot. But I do think Austin Hayes will have that first spot. We'll have that left field spot done just because he is a veteran in the lineup and one of our veterans in the lineup. And it seems like we like to have that veteran outfield of Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Anthony Santander. So yeah, with Austin Hayes in left field, that moves Terran Vavra to second base. I do want to see Terran Vavra start somewhere in the lineup, start the year. Now the question is, will Terran Vavra start in second base, or will Terran Vavra start in second base, or will he start in the outfield somewhere? And the and if he does start, and if and who will be our starting second baseman if it's not Terran Vavra? Will it be Adam Frazier, or will it be my number 8 batter, Ramon Urias? Another guy that I really would think will be in the lineup next year, and I do think he should be in the lineup next year. I was kind of shocked if he wasn't. But either way, he should be in the lineup. I do think he'll be either the starting second baseman, or maybe he'll be starting in the DH spot, which is where I have him right now. I don't think he'll start short. I do think Mateo has short lockdown. And I do think Gunnar Henderson at third base lockdown. However, Ramon Urias will be battling for the second base spot, and will be battling for the DH spot. And he should get one of those two. But finally, in my ninth spot at shortstop, Jorge Mateo. That's just because not only is he one of our best batters and an absolute speedster, but because it seems like we like to have one of our fastest players in the ninth spot to round out the lineup and get on base for getting on base to help out, like to get back onto the top of the order, like Cedric Mullins. Get that the Cedric Mullins at the top of the order. But yeah, that's my starting lineup. I guess we'll head to the starting pitchers now. I do think Dean Creamer should have his spot locked down. I think he'll be one of our starters. John Means should be a starter next year. So it's Means and Creamer. And then you got Grayson Rodriguez as well. So you got Means, Rodriguez, and Creamer. As your big three up at the top. That basically leaves the fourth and fifth spot open. You got Kyle Bradish, you got DL Hall, you got Austin Vose. You could say screw it and just have this spot be a bullpen spot, but I think that's a really, really bad idea. You got Tyler Wells, who started off the year pretty strong until he got injured. I think he'll be back in the lineup this year, either at the DH or as a bullpen player. So, and then you got Spencer Watkins as well, who I think will be more of a bullpen guy this year, and will only start if we deal with injuries. So let's say John Means is out to start the year. You have Grayson Rodriguez, Dean Creamer, and if I was going to guess, Kyle Bradish. I'd say those three should be three of the starters. And then my 4 and 5 will be Austin Vose and I'll go Tyler Wells. And then once Means gets healthy, then you'll put Means back into the lineup. And you'll go Means, Creamer, Rodriguez, Bradish, and then either Hall or Vose will get that last spot. So yeah, the starting 5 pitchers is going to be a big possibility. I have to make a 6. And then moving on from that, you got a very, very strong bullpen. Not only the guys who you're talking about starters, possibly being going into the bullpen, but you also guys that are pretty solid in the bullpen themselves. Guys like Brian Baker. You got Brian Baker. You got Dylan Tate. You got CNL Perez. And of course you got the closer and Felix Bautista, who I think will have a really nice year as our closer. So yeah, you definitely got options here at pitching. while I would say pitching is our strongest suit, we definitely have options here. And of course, we got the guys that we just kind of traded a couple weeks ago as well. So looking at not only the batting but the pitching as well, and the amount of depth we have, I do think the Orioles are going to have a very solid year. Um, I just let's go back into the depth real quick and talk about more of the batting spots. We're looking at like the competition. Yeah, I'm pretty sure obviously that we just got who could be battling for that second baseman spot. Um, we also got Kyle Stowers from last year who will be battling for an outfield spot. We got a couple. We got a couple more players from the outfield as well. And I'm getting blanked on. We traded for the catcher from the Mets, who I think will be the backup catcher going into the year behind Rutschman. Um, so going into this year, we do have a very, very solid lineup. But of course, you have to take out like injuries and who's going to be in your starting lineup. Not only your starting lineup, but your 40-man roster, who you have to send back down to AAA, which which really sucks sometimes because you'll. But for the Orioles starting lineup up on both pitching and batting, I think will be very, very strong going into the year. And once March, once late March rolls around and we figure out our starting 40 and roster, and we'll see like our starting nine lineup as well as our pitching, those are pitching core. Once we figure out all that, I think we'll go into this year and decide what the future holds. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care.